Glad you're here for another opportunity for us to talk about the current state of affairs in the commercial real estate sector. So, unless you've been living under a rock for the last couple of years, you realize that we're going through another little cycle inside of the commercial real estate. The last major cycle was obviously 2008. This cycle is not like 2008, but there are some unique challenges for passive investors, for active operators, syndicators, and sponsors on deals, right? So let's talk about a couple of the factors that are causing significant stress, particularly maybe at your property or in your portfolio if you are a commercial real estate property owner. One is insurance. The cost of insurance and the availability of competitive insurance in many markets throughout the United States has almost disappeared. Many sponsors and operators are thinking to themselves, how in the hell am I going to be able to make my business plan make sense or pencil out to be able to show investors an appreciable return of their investment or increase my net operating income when insurance has gone sky high and it's not available? Well, you need to understand that there are different insurance products that can be applied to your particular property and to your particular property portfolio. One of which is piggybacking off of a master insurance policy. That's where you're basically participating in a plan where you're able to actually get many properties, maybe even some that you don't presently own, and take advantage of being able to drive down lower rates of insurance. So if that's something of interest to you, you should reach out to our office and we provide you with a free consultation. Secondarily, one of the other things is the price of rate caps. So many of you that have actually acquired properties in the last probably 3 or 4 years, you took a floating bridge loan. That meant that your rate was tied to either LIBOR or the new SOFR rate that came into existence a couple years ago, and it floated. So it could go up and it could go down. But what we saw was it went straight up and it didn't come back down. So the reality is when the Federal Reserve Bank started raising interest rates precipitously in March of 2022, that caused disruption in the bridge financing market. So that means that if you had a floating rate loan that was tied to SOFR or LIBOR, the reality is that pressure of those increased rates, even if you had a property that had high occupancy, you still were not able to perform under the terms of your existing loan. And that created significant stress at your property. And if you're one of those people, we can certainly talk to you about the objective market factors that cause stress in your loan. And because you need to understand that to be able to explain to your investors. If you're not actively explaining these pressures and these stresses to your investors are going to think that you're asleep at the wheel and that you just simply don't care. But first and foremost, you need to understand why your property theoretically is in distress. So if you're one of those people that the cost of insurance or the rate cap market impacted your loan, those are common objective market factors associated with that. And being able to explain that to your investor is super important. Don't wait. If you're somebody that thinks that your property may be under stress, you're not alone. Most properties that were acquired during a specific time frame in this last cycle are under stress and distress. And that means that if you do not restructure or modify your existing loan, it is likely, or there's a greater likelihood that it may fail, which means if the loan fails, that means the property will be foreclosed upon, and that means that you're going to lose a significant portion or all of the common equity or preferred equity if you took that in during this time frame. So I hope that this information was helpful. For those of you that love commercial real estate like we love commercial real estate, happy hunting and Godspeed.